Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome back to the OpenStack Now podcast. This is episode 12, if I'm counting correctly. And we are here with Alison Price of the OpenStack Foundation. Allison, welcome to the podcast. It's good to see you. And also, yes.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we're more than happy to have you here. And I am Nick Chase from Marantis and OpenStack Now, and we, of course, have my illustrious co-host and our technical our technical smarts when it comes to recording these things, Jainschigg. And so today we are going to talk about the foundation and communications and all kinds of lovely, happy things. And so, Allison, let's just kind of start by what is it that you do for the foundation?
Of course. So at the foundation, I'm on the marketing team, and I manage a lot of the communications that are outbound. So whether it's the social media channels or sometimes the email blasts that kind of go out to the community. And most recently, I've taken on a larger role with Superuser, our online publication. So I help guide the editorial direction of Superuser, and I also help manage the brand extensions of Superuser, like the Superuser Awards and the Superuser print publication that we distribute at the summits.
So let's talk about Superuser for a minute. I mean, as longtime readers of OpenStack Now probably have guessed. Okay. If you didn't hear it, folks, don't even worry about it. We were a little bit surprised when the foundation announced that they were going to do their own magazine, Superuser. So why is it important to have kind of a centralized voice for OpenStack?
So it's important because there are a lot of different things going on in the community, and it's helpful for us to have one place where we can provide additional materials that go more in depth for a particular audience, because we get a lot of feedback from users that they have questions or they need resources, and we're excited to be able to put a lot of those resources in one place, whether it's use cases for certain users like Comcast or Time Warner, or if it's how-to tutorials from folks in our technical community. We've seen a really that kind of content has become really popular, so that not only do you have the actual use case, but you also have some how-to direction to actually make OpenStack work for your organization.
Is it hard to kind of coordinate in an industry, or at least an ecosystem, where you have so many different players that are competing with each other and they're cooperating with each other? I mean, it's a very strange space that we're in.
Sometimes. I mean, it's very interesting because you do have a lot of people that compete directly with each other, but then you have sometimes they're developers that are working together on a specific project or a specific thing within the project itself. So sometimes it does take a little bit of, just honestly educating about what we're trying to do with Superuser. We don't want it to be too vendor heavy. We want it to be vendor neutral content that people can actually find really useful, and it's not necessarily coming across as a sales pitch. We really try to make that something that's really embedded into the content that we're publishing, so that it's a helpful resource, but it's not necessarily putting one company's agenda ahead of another.
Right. So now, next week is the summit. Are you going to be? I understand you're going to be doing something special there.
Yes. So we're adding another brand extension for Superuser called Superuser TV. It will be our first time to launch this initiative, but we're very excited. So working with Shamal Tahir from IBM and Ken Wee from Platform 9, myself and Heidi Joy, who's also on the marketing team at the foundation, have been reaching out to different members in our community to provide updates on what they're working on, or maybe the use case at their organization. So a lot of topics that have been particularly kind of hot in the community right now, including containers or the diversity working group or interoperability. We want to bring those to the forefront with digestible content on video that will then be uploaded to Superuser each day of the summit, so that not only summit attendees can kind of get these updates, but it can also be viewable by readers around the world who may not be able to attend.
And we're going to be covering a lot of your coverage in OpenStack Now. So we find it useful. John, did you have a question?
My questions go back to the history of Superuser, but I don't want to take us off track here discussing Summit matters. Are we?
No, go right ahead.
Are we good with Summit?
All right, we're good with Summit.
I've been curious since I joined the community. I was immediately impressed with the graphic identity around Superuser. It seems I began just by sort of realizing that I really liked the artwork and realized that there was a great deal of talent and thought going into into creating, for example, diverse neutral imagery to represent people in the user and developer community, and that the graphic sophistication of Superuser related communications, posterage even, was very high. And I was curious about who some of the creatives were, around the project.
That's for you, Allison.
Awesome, definitely. Yeah, sorry, there's a little bit of a lag there.
I was just going to say, we must have a lag here. Yeah.
The creative director at the OpenStack Foundation, Todd Morey, was definitely a driving force behind a lot of those creations. So at the, I believe I was at the Atlanta Summit in 2014, was when we launched Superuser, and he actually sourced, asked some people in the community and built these characters that you still see on Superuser now, and it really helped build a brand identity around them, and it brought the community to life in the publication through those images. And it's something that we've really tried to stick behind, especially as we build something like the Superuser publication that we printed for Vancouver, and we're doing one for Tokyo as well, making sure it still has that strong brand identity, because it is one of those things that makes Superuser unique, especially coming from the foundation itself.
I understand some of those were based on people.
Yeah, and with permissions, of course. But yes, they're at the Atlanta Summit. There were actually light boxes, and it said who it was, and they were able to take those signs home. So it's pretty cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. I've heard people saying, "How do I get to be one of those?" I guess it's done now, though, of course. But still, it's certainly one way to engage the community, because there were a lot of people who were like, "I want to be an avatar," although. Yeah, not quite so whiny, but
yeah.
So
we get that request a lot. It's more surprising, or it's not as surprising as you think.
I'm sure.
So, how are you handling production in Tokyo?
The print publication, or just the production of Superuser TV?
The TV.
Oh, so we are going to have a space located by registration in the info booth on level 1 of the convention center, and we're going to have a high top table with some high top chairs. And we've been working for the past couple of weeks on finalizing a schedule and making sure that we're really bringing a lot of these community conversations and use cases to life that are really kind of hot in the community right now. So we've been working on that, and we've actually, since posting on Superuser about Superuser TV, we've actually had a lot of inbound requests. People are really excited about the idea, which is really giving us momentum and making us excited. So we've actually gotten some more requests on how other people can be involved or what they would like to present. So we're definitely seeing some great interest in Superuser TV, and I'm excited for what next week will bring. And then after the summit, we're actually going to continue the momentum of Superuser TV, and we're going to work to publish content monthly so that we can, continue the brand and really see what we can take with visual and video content on Superuser. With the help of Nick, actually, he's actually volunteered to help join and steward this project. But we're really excited to bring that to life, and then also just continue that between the summits as well.
Awesome. So great. And now let's talk about other pieces of Superuser. What about the Superuser Awards? Tell us about that.
So the Superuser Awards were launched last November for the Paris Summit, where CERN won. And we really wanted to help identify different teams that not only are they running OpenStack in production and they are creating a business value with OpenStack, but they're also great contributors back to the community as well. So it's great to be able to recognize those teams who are making such an impact not only at their organization, but then taking that additional step and really, contributing back to the community, whether it's code, whether it's attending events and speaking, or whether it's, just, a bug fix here and there. I think it's really important to help identify those people, those teams that, may not necessarily get recognition within the community a lot. So it was really exciting to award the award to CERN and Comcast in Vancouver, because they are two organizations that contribute regularly. They also have great OpenStack deployments in production. And we're excited for the winner in Tokyo, which will be announced on day one, during day one's keynotes. So.
See, I was kind of hoping you could just give us a spoiler and tell us who it was going to be, but
lips are sealed.
Oh, well, it's still sealed in the mayonnaise jar on Funkin' Wagnall's porch. Is that it? I just really dated myself. really, really dated myself.
But and the great piece about it is that the award is, we offer flight and hotel for the winners for two individuals, and CERN was able to bring two people that would not have been able to attend the Vancouver Summit without that award. And then Comcast actually dedicated the award to the women of OpenStack. So two women that would not have been able to attend the summit were then able to have the funding to attend in Tokyo. So it's really exciting to be able to see that reward bring people to the summit who wouldn't be able to attend otherwise.
Definitely. So just one more quick question. So you are also responsible for a lot of the social media stuff, as we've been saying. So how does social kind of fit into all of this?
So social's our megaphone. We definitely have built a strong community, particularly on Twitter. We do have, a large following, and there's a lot of great conversations that we're able to jump in and answer questions or jump in and help. And I think that by having that platform, we're able to take messages, whether they're on Superuser or whether they're another campaign that we're running, and we're able to communicate that to the community. Because what the hard part is about everyone is, you have email, you have Twitter, you have all these different platforms. And so it's hard to find the one single platform that works for everyone. Everyone has their preference, and I think that Twitter and different community email lists or the community newsletter that we do, I think that it helps keep people in the loop on the platform that they find easiest to use and that they enjoy using. Because I know that a lot of people don't like Twitter, and they would rather read something on a mailing list versus logging into a different platform. And so I think that, finding our community on Twitter has been really beneficial for us to get certain messages out there, particularly during the summit where we, all rally behind the OpenStack hashtag. And we're actually going to be doing another hashtag in Tokyo, which we're going to be doing We Are OpenStack, to really encourage people, to talk about what the community looks like to them and really bring that diversity conversation to the forefront on Twitter as well. So I'm interested and excited to see that come to life as well. But so far, that's been our biggest success as far as sharing our messages socially.
Excellent. So yeah, that whole kind of getting back to We Are OpenStack, do you think the community has changed in the last 3 or 4 years, aside from getting bigger?
I mean, I think that the community is evolving, and it'll continue to evolve. And I think that different issues will come into the forefront as we continue to grow. And I mean, we've gotten to a very large size in the past year, and I think that, different initiatives just to see like what the composition of our, community have been taken, and it should be interesting. But I think that, as it continues to grow, there's always learning curves, and there's always learning to be done about the community. So I think that will be interesting to see as we continue to grow, especially at the pace that it's been over the past couple of years.
All right. Well, I know everyone's short on time, so I'm going to start to wrap it up here. Just talking about hashtags. If you are following, if you're going to be following things on Twitter during the summit, we will also be, of course, covering the summit. We will be at OpenStack Now will be our hashtag for this summit. And then we are actually moving to a new brand identity. OpenStack Now, I'm going to, this is an exclusive announcement for those of you who have not heard this, and actually nobody's heard this because this is the first time I'm telling anybody this. Because we want to kind of make the point that OpenStack is so flexible, and you should not be locked into anything in particular, and the nature of OpenStack as a integration platform where you can do whatever it is you need to do and use whatever pieces you need to use. We are going to be renaming OpenStack Now to OpenStack Unlocked. So we will be transitioning over to the OpenStack Unlocked hashtag after the summit. And we will be changing all of our branding and all of that stuff, and I'm really kind of dreading doing it, to be perfectly frank. But it's what we're doing, and we're just trying to kind of put that message forward. So, all right. So I think this is great. We will not. We may or may not have a podcast next week as we try and cover things from the summit. We will probably be gathering live video from people who are there and bring it to you the following week. So I want to thank our guest, Alison Price, for joining us here on the last or penultimate OpenStack Now podcast as opposed to OpenStack Unlocked podcast. And also thank you, John Jainschigg, for joining us here. And we will go forward, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.